Okay, let's start another Monday together. I'm Gio Benitez. It's August 10th. You've got questions, we've got answers. This is Search, where we're breaking down what you're asking right now in real time. So let's get right to it. We've got our Maya Ephraim right here overseeing our online search trends. All right, Maya, good to see you. What are people searching for right now?
Hi, Gio. Good to see you. There's extremely high interest in the conversation about the WNBA. Former NBA players Enes, Kanter, Freedom, and Royce White generated viral headlines after saying they intend to declare for the 2027 WNBA draft. As a result, people are looking up what the league has said about potential transgender players. People seem to be really looking for explainers of some of the recent headlines about the WNBA. Turning to the latest on the foodborne illnesses we've been tracking, Taylor Farms has issued a voluntary recall on over 20 products containing fresh jalapeños due to potential Salmonella contamination. Now people are looking for foods that could contain those recalled peppers and what is still safe to eat. But Gio, I'm also seeing questions about what, if any, school districts source their food from Taylor Farms. And in Washington, President Trump acknowledged that there was, quote, no video or proof of alleged vandalism to the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. This after weeks of claiming that damage to the pool surface was deliberate. Now people are again turning to Search to ask how much the renovation has cost so far and check for the latest updates on the landmark.
All right, a lot of big stories there, Maya. Thank you so much. We will check back in very, very soon. But let's dive a little deeper now into the story that you can't stop asking about, and it's the WNBA now facing heat over transgender athletes' eligibility to compete in the league. And we've got LA Times op-ed columnist LZ Granderson right here, our friend. It is good to see you, LZ. Thank you so much for being here. So let's start here because I cannot stop seeing this story everywhere. It is everywhere online right now, and that's because there are two ex-NBA players who have now declared for the WNBA draft. So how did we get here? What are they saying?
Hey, Gio, it's very good to see you. First, there are two different issues happening at the same time. I'll address the first, the two NBA players. These are two men who have, disappointing finishes to their NBA careers. Royce White didn't even really play. I think he played a total of 3 minutes because he was afraid of flying. And Enes Kanter, who was drafted and had a decent beginning to his career, but when the NBA started shooting more three-pointers, he found himself out because he can't shoot. He's slow of foot and he plays poor defense and he's not a good rebounder. So these two guys have been kicked basically out of the league for not being good enough players. And so they're using this opportunity with the WNBA to troll, but really they're still bitter about their own athletic careers.
So how is the WNBA actually determining trans eligibility? Because that's what people are searching for right now, and they're asking that question.
Yeah, it's a tough question for not just the WNBA, but really all international organizations, the IOC, every single competition that we have on a global scale, there seems to be different rules. Tennis has different rules. So I would say with the WNBA, the first thing that comes to eligibility is you need to be of a certain age. Over 18, ideally going to college, not have any more eligibility left in your college years would be good, but not required. And of course, it helps if you're a woman. If you were a woman, that's all part of it. What these two men are trying to do is try to insert a transgender conversation in a very dishonest way, because neither one have a history of being supportive of the LGBTQ plus community, nor identifying as being trans. They're just trolling people.
Sophie Cunningham, a WNBA player, she has actually spoken out against trans participation in women's sports. And obviously anyone who knows a team sport knows that you need the support of other players.
Yes, as I said, it's a complicated conversation. I've been covering this topic pretty much my entire career. And I'll tell you, Gio, I've landed on a place of I believe that trans athletes should not be able to compete in competitive sports that are physically contact or like causing collision. Because then I do think there's an honest conversation about safety issues. But for races, like track and field or swimming and things like that, I think an open division in which you can be male, female, or trans, and everyone competes in the same category, I think that's fair because you're not actually exposing someone to physical harm. You're actually just proving yourself within your own lane to be the best athlete within that competition. I think what would be beneficial is we start having more movement towards how can we include trans athletes as opposed to finding ways to eliminate trans athletes, because we know through history, eliminating athletes from sports has never been beneficial for anybody.
Right. And one of the things that's also happening is that we don't exactly know when that WNBA draft would be for 2027. We don't have a date just yet, but we have seen how popular the WNBA has been. So if trans athletes are deemed eligible to join the WNBA, how might that affect support for the league?
That's a great question. We've had trans athletes in tennis already, and tennis is still very popular. People didn't know there was a trans athlete competing. So I think part of that has to just do with just simple knowledge. And then there's the fact that we have to deal with the bigotry of it, and we have to deal with the discomfort of it in the locker room. And I think that if the WNBA in its years of existence hasn't had an opportunity yet to figure out what it's going to be its plan, then I think that's woeful on the commissioner, because it's not as if this is a new conversation. As I said, we've already had tennis players who were trans competing on tour, and that was way back in the 1970s. So at this point, if you don't have a plan and you are a women's league for this conversation, then you need to start getting one right away.
It is a fascinating conversation, and I know that you're going to continue it on your socials. LZ Granderson, my friend, thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, let's get to Taylor Farms now, recalling jalapeno products at grocery stores across the country. Our medical unit producer, Yuri Benejoud, has answers to all of your questions here. Yuri, it is good to see you. So people want to know who owns Taylor Farms and if jalapenos and lettuce are safe to eat, because obviously this has been such a conversation.
Yeah, Gio. So Taylor Farms is one of the largest producers of both fruits and veggies in the United States, and now some of their products are being linked to 2 different recalls. We've been talking about this cyclosporiasis outbreak for some time. Taylor Farms issued a voluntary recall of all their iceberg lettuce that was sourced from central Mexico, but that was weeks ago, so now we can presume that many of those, or all of those products rather, are now off the market. Health officials have even come out and said that lettuce is likely okay to eat. Now we're talking about a Salmonella outbreak, and it's been tied to jalapenos. So Taylor Farms has some products that may contain these potentially contaminated jalapenos out there on the market. That includes things like meat and poultry products, but also dips, things like salsa and guacamole. And in a statement to us, they said that they're no longer sourcing products from this farmer, and they're going to be filling orders from alternative suppliers. They also noted that they're not aware of any reported illnesses at this time. So it's really important to make sure you're checking both the FDA and the USDA website and making sure none of these products are in your kitchen.
So where do you get their products? I'm seeing talk online about schools and Trader Joe's and all of that.
Well, it just goes back to the fact, Gio, that we have a global supply chain right now. So when you have a distributor, it goes out to various different entities, restaurants and grocery stores, but as you mentioned, also possibly schools or even workplace settings. Now, all of those entities have been notified. There's usually a sort of alert system where, if you're a big cafeteria, for example, you get an alert very early on when a recall is issued, so you're pulling that from your inventory. But obviously there is concern here, given the fact that certain people, especially kids, are at higher risk. Those that are under 5 especially are at higher risk of food poisoning. Their bodies are just not up to date enough with their immune systems to really tackle these bacteria that could potentially infect them. So I would say if you are a concerned parent, you might want to talk to your school and make sure that their cafeteria is aware of all these recalls, and then they're not serving any of these products.
So with the lettuce, we saw that map with all the different states. So with this one, the jalapenos, which states are impacted and which products specifically are impacted?
Yeah, it's a pretty wide range of states. We're talking about almost over half the country, 26 total states, and with use by dates up to August 16th. But it's a variety of different foods, right? Burritos, sandwiches, and salads, and dips, as I mentioned, those salsa and guacamole bowls. And then it also went to a variety of different grocery stores like Kroger, Target, Trader Joe's, Walmart, even Whole Foods. And as I mentioned, most of those stores have systems in place to pull recalled products immediately. Even when you go to the cash register, it can flag before you check out to make sure you're not buying that. But like I said, it's always a good idea to make sure you have none of those products at home.
That's right. And so we're seeing that right there in the stores where it's sold at, right on your screen right now. All right, Yuri, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Keep us updated on this. All right, we're going to go to Washington now. President Trump is saying there was, quote, some contractor error done by rushing that reflecting pool job. And we've got investigative reporter Olivia Rubin, who has been all over this from the very beginning. Olivia, it is good to see you. So what else is the president saying?
Great to see you, Gio. Well, this is a concession from President Trump acknowledging that there were some issues with the contractor who did this so-called repainting of the pool. But critically, Gio, President Trump is downplaying how significant it was. He said the contractor error was essentially inconsequential. And in that very same social media post, he doubled down on allegations that former Olympian David Hearn was a vandal at the pool, even though, as we have covered and discussed, Gio, his own U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro has said the opposite in court filings. She said that the damage to the pool was the result of a botched installation, not from vandalism. However, President Trump was furious about that decision, publicly essentially said he didn't know what he was going to do with Jeanine Pirro, but again, not backing off of those vandal claims. And today, Gio, David Hearn's attorney saying that they are exploring all options for what they are going to do on what they describe as continued harassment, Gio.
So, Olivia, you're right there at our ABC News Bureau there in D.C. It's not too far from the reflecting pool. Is that algae still growing? Like, is that problem still a thing?
You know, I'd love to walk over and check for you, but it's actually a difficult question to answer right now because as of Friday, Gio, they were still working on the pool. The National Park Service said that they were partially refilling it, so it's not totally full right now because they were going to fix, and this is a twist, they're fixing an issue with the pipes there. And as part of that, they said that there could be some discoloration in the pool that comes with the flushing out of the pipe. So it's another twist. It's not fully full. It's not fully repaired yet. So hard to say definitively what's in there because right now we just don't know.
Okay, we just don't know. So remind us how much this renovation was supposed to cost. I mean, what's the latest there? How much more money has gone into it since?
Well, according to an ABC review, the cost of these renovations are now at over $16 million. And yes, that is using taxpayer money. And one of the contractors who did the bulk of that work, the repainting work, has been paid, Gio, nearly $15 million. And that is $4 million in excess of what the initial estimate for that contractor was going to be. So certainly larger than one of the initial estimates there.
All right, extremely costly. Olivia Rubin, thank you so much. And yes, you don't need to walk over there. Appreciate that.
But I will for you.
Thank you. All right, so we just ran through your top searches, but what else is on the timeline? Let's get right back over to Maya. All right, Maya, so what else is trending?
Dozens are dead after a powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck western Colombia today. Dozens of buildings have collapsed, trapping residents under debris and forcing evacuations across major cities. People are turning to search to get the latest on victims, track recovery efforts, and also look for how to send help. And surge interest in daylight saving time is spiking again following new comments from President Trump urging the Senate to pass the bipartisan Sunshine Protection Act. With heavy news coverage and the November 1st deadline looming before clocks fall back, people are wondering if this autumn could mark the final time changes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope the clock actually comes back just one more time, just to gain that extra hour. Thank you, Maya. Appreciate it. All right, coming up here, one search always leads to another. We've got a trending topic, but that is just the surface. Don't call it a comeback. We're actually talking about a retro revival of MySpace, and that's The Spiral. It's next. And welcome back to Search. Today's top searches are only part of the story. A simple scroll can sometimes take you down that deep rabbit hole. It's time now for The Spiral. Okay, so you can't stop asking questions about MySpace. Remember that? We're following your clicks and curiosity, and it looks like you want to know more about plans for the platform to make a comeback and how this all ties into Gen Z leaning into nostalgia. So let's break that down. We've got our Mike Muse up first, then Callie Holterman. Thank you both for being here. Appreciate it. Let's go ahead and start with this MySpace revival in the new era of social media. Sirius XM radio host Mike Muse joins me now with more on this. Mike, it is good to see you. Okay, so MySpace rebranded itself years ago as a platform for musicians. So why the rebrand of a rebrand?
There's always nostalgia, and in particular for MySpace. You always have something, Geo, for your first love. And MySpace was one of the forerunners of social media. And so they wanted to test the market again to see, is there a marketplace for them to come back? In particular, in this age of algorithm dynamics and ways to tweak the algorithm to service what you want. But now a lot of users of social media are not getting posts that they recognize, meaning they're not their friends, people they follow. They're getting prompted a lot of ads. So MySpace is asking the question, can they fill that gap?
Okay, interesting. So people are searching. They really want to know here why MySpace is preparing to relaunch. And we saw his picture right there. You know, the guy with the white t-shirt, our old friend Tom Anderson. Is he going to be involved?
No, Tom gave up his stake in MySpace when he sold it to this new investment company. So there may be things, and he talked about before, maybe starting his own social media platform. But as of now, he would not be involved in this current form of MySpace as to date because of the fact that he's already sold his.
Okay, all right. So it was once a platform that people used to express themselves through creative profile designs. I remember seeing all of the graphics and the backgrounds and all of that. They had music, bulletin boards. It was all of that. Do we have any idea what this relaunch is going to look like?
We do not know. So there are no plans on what. I should say this, there's been no public release of plans on the direction that they're looking to take MySpace. But what made MySpace so interesting was your ability to code and to create your own HTML, as well as really designing your profile in the way that you want it to look. These days, it's so easy for people to plug and play that you don't have to have the design. So the question will remain for MySpace is, do they want people to plug and play where the ease of use is already there? They don't have to design the system, but more so want to democratize the algorithm. So it makes it more personal again, meaning your social media experience is more personal. It's from people you actually know versus making it less dependent on ad and product tools to create more engagement in order to build more revenue for these tech platforms. So can they bring back nostalgia? If they can bring back the nostalgia aspect of it while keeping it simple, I think they could have something.
That is the question. All right, Mike Muse, thank you so much, my friend. Let's go ahead and bring in New York Times Gen Z reporter Callie Holterman, who has like the best job title in journalism right now, I think. Okay, Callie, so you worked on a piece titled "Nostalgia is Bringing Gen Z Together Globally." What is happening exactly? What's driving all of this?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's funny you talk about MySpace, but it's not just MySpace. I talk to Gen Zers really all day long for my job, and nostalgia comes up all the time in a lot of different ways. It comes up in their tech habits. This is a generation that grew up super online, and yet now you see them picking up flip phones and iPods and Walkmen. You see Gen Zers embracing these sorts of throwback offline hobbies like board game clubs or getting together to knit or sew. Last year, hacky sacks were selling out in stores all over the country because high schoolers were getting so into it. And you even see that nostalgia showing up in fashion, in sort of the Y2K slip dresses, camisoles, low-rise jeans that I see all over New York on, teenagers and 20-somethings.
Also, everyone with the earbuds, the wired earbuds, they're like saying no to the Bluetooth stuff. So is there a viable market for early internet nostalgia? Does MySpace even have a potential audience here in Gen Z when we have platforms like Instagram, TikTok, all the things?
I think MySpace might benefit from the fact that a lot of people feel, especially younger people, can feel sort of sour on those platforms now. There was a moment, I think, when the internet and social media felt like this place that you could go to for exploration, for fun, to express yourself. Now the internet is where most of us do our jobs, or in the case of younger people, do our homework. They were on Zoom for lots of the pandemic. And so a lot of different companies and MySpace and otherwise are trying to capitalize on ways to make the internet sort of feel fun and expressive again, rather than a place for work or commerce, or even just a place that we go to sink our anxiety about the world and scroll for the rest of the night.
You know, Callie, just a few weeks ago, right here on Search, we were talking about this issue of people unplugging, going analog right now, and we're seeing a lot of that about people just unplugging. So how is Gen Z's relationship with technology evolving?
It's this really interesting paradox. I hear all the time from young people who want to unplug. I went last year and tagged along with a group of college students who were giving up their smartphones and their laptops for a week. And I say it's a paradox because it's actually really hard to do that in the way that the world is set up today. Some of those students found out when they tried to unplug that the laundry machines on campus you control with an app on your phone. So it sounds awesome to give up your phone, to log off, to go off the grid. But when it comes time to apply for jobs or wash your underwear, you actually are expected to have a baseline level of digital access.
That's right, just not relying on it too much. And I've been inspired by Gen Z with that. So before I let you go here, you don't just cover Gen Z, Callie, you actually are Gen Z. So I'm wondering, are you planning to check MySpace out?
If I were to check MySpace out, I would be making a MySpace for the first time. I've never had one, and I think a lot of Gen Zers haven't. So it would be a new adventure for me.
I don't know if I want to bring it back. I had one. I don't know if I want to bring it back. Callie, thank you so much. We'll look for your reporting at the New York Times. Thank you so much. All right, still ahead here. It might be at the top of your feed, but what's the vibe? We've got your top pop culture and entertainment searches with Roxy Diaz, including how Barbie is honoring the one and only Whitney Houston. It's the Vibe Check, and it's next. It is time now for our Vibe Check, a look at what's buzzing in entertainment and pop culture. And our Roxy Diaz joins me now for more on what's trending on your feeds. Hey, Rox, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Gio, if you had a mega yacht, you would pull over and save me, right?
Obviously.
Okay, just making sure, because an awkward moment happened on the high seas. A small skiff ran out of fuel off the coast of Alaska, and reports say that Mark Zuckerberg's super yacht named Launchpad was nearby when the Coast Guard put out the assist call. Now, Zuckerberg and his family were not aboard the vessel, but a spokesperson for the billionaire says the yacht did not hear a radio call for help. Luckily, a small cruise ship was able to respond, towing the skiff to a nearby bay for refueling. One passenger on the cruise ship said that they heard a chorus of boos when the captain reportedly said Zuckerberg's yacht didn't respond to the distress call. Okay, now Hazard County has lost a legend. Ben Jones, beloved as mechanic Cooter Davenport on Dukes of Hazzard, died on Sunday of a massive heart attack at 84. At home, he was waiting to watch the Braves play the Yankees. His wife of over 30 years, Alma, shared the news with a photo of Jones smiling with a dog in his lap, and she wrote, "I lost the love of my life today," she writes. Jones appeared in all 7 seasons of the CBS classic and both reunion movies, but his second act was just as remarkable. He was elected to Congress in 1988, serving Georgia's 4th district as a Democrat and working on veteran affairs. And Britney Spears is sharing a cautionary tale. The pop icon sharing online that she was left with a droopy eye for 4 weeks after a Botox injection that just went wrong, writing, "You can't trust anyone." Now, in the video, Spears says, "Girls, you have to be careful if you do Botox." She goes on to say, quote, "Some doctors try to change your face, but it was her closing message that resonated most. Be careful with your bodies because it's yours and you own it." A candid warning from a woman that is just always photographed and always looked at all over the world. Whitney Houston is officially Barbified. Mattel unveiled a new doll honoring the voice in her iconic "I Wanna Dance with Somebody" music video look, complete with the lilac tank dress, bold, colorful earrings, 80s curls, and a microphone stand. Now, the reveal comes on what would have been Whitney's 63rd birthday. The Barbie was created in collaboration with her sister-in-law and estate executor, Pat Houston. Mattel says she's ready to chase your blues away. And Gio, the 59 doll, is available at Target, Walmart, Amazon, and Mattel Creations. I love that for the Houston family.
Oh my gosh, I love it too, and it makes him miss her voice so much. 63 years old she would have been, so happy birthday to her.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Roxy. Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Thank you. All right, I'm Gio Benitez. This is Searched on ABC News Live, where your questions meet real answers. We're going to leave you here with what's trending right now on abcnews.com. You see that QR code, scan it, and we will catch you up, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.